Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14 because we will have one of my favorite whole people in the community, Mark Thompson. Welcome, Mark.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here one more time.
You know, people tell me all the time, what's wrong with you? And I say, I guess they ask me that all the time, what's wrong with you? And I always say, I never had a mentor when I was a kid. Anyone who could help me along the way. And we're going to talk about that today because it's so important to be a mentor, to have a mentor, just what it does for kids. So talk about this. You're very passionate about this.
Oh, yeah, this is, and right now we're moving into school beginning to start, and I just want this to be, you need to be a mentor. I'm looking at the camera right now. You need to be a mentor. Last year, we finished up with just under 400 mentors for 14,000 students.
Right, now you're disappointed by that, but 400 sounds like a lot to me.
Well, you know, every child needs a mentor, and let me just start off by saying, it's not just children that are in trouble or having difficulties.
I needed a mentor.
Well, you do need a mentor. But here's what's so important. We have a lot of adults in this community that are sitting there that have so much to offer. And I run across a lot of adults that say, what do I do? Well, now's your chance to be a mentor. So what's a mentor? It's someone who can come into our school. Again, I stress, come into our school building during the school day, spend 45 minutes to an hour with a child or multiple students, and just impart some wisdom, some knowledge into them, and also just be a good listener. That's what we're missing. A lot of adults are not listening to our children, and our children are facing an epidemic crisis of problems that they're seeing, they're facing, they're hearing about, and they don't know how to handle it. So now's a chance for everyone in this community to step up to be a mentor.
And it's just a matter of just interacting.
That's it, just interacting. You know, I call it the a la carte version of mentoring. We have that one-on-one mentoring where you sit there and talk to a child. But you know, what I've seen over the years is that sometimes adults feel uncomfortable just one-on-one. And what we started was that a la carte mentoring. So you can do a variety of different things. And what's so cool about this, you can come in, you come with somebody else, you could be a team, but you can have a group of students. You can have a name for them. We had at our high schools, we had what was called Men of Distinction. And every Friday, we would have them say, dress up. And we even played a video. We had, I think of the Justin Timberlake song, Suit and Tie. We had the young men coming into school with a tie on and just see the difference. But it all started with one person coming in, and then the staff started adding more, and they had a group. And now it's a group, and they said, let's come up with a name for you. And the name was Men of Distinction. It's just that easy.
Right, right. And you see people, and you try to follow their example. And I'm kidding when I say I didn't have a mentor. I had many mentors in my life, and I think I might have learned more from my mentors than my teachers. Because what you do is you identify personalities that you want to be like, and you want to sort of copy them and live the way they do. Not think the way they do, but they sort of have a standard about the way they conduct themselves, and that's admirable.
And that's what it's about. You know, a lot of our young people, again, when you look at role models that they have, yeah, they see the ones on TV, but here you could be someone that's actually there in their lives that they can actually talk with. And that's what's so important about being a mentor. You're that actual tangible person who sits in front of a child or a group of students, and they can actually talk to you. And it's not something that's put up with makeup and lights and cameras and smoke and mirrors, you could say. But here's a real life example. And I always tell our mentors when we go through the training, be as open and honest as you can be.
Right.
That's what my secret has been over the years when I mentor a lot of students. Let them know, you know, when I was in 6th grade, I still have my picture of, when I was in 6th grade, 4th grade reading ability. I stuttered, couldn't really talk, and the teachers at the time put down that I lacked self-esteem, self-confidence, but it took someone to say, Mark, you're better than this. And I share that story with the students that I mentor and let them know and show them my picture. Hey, you're better than this. Don't get labeled by what people think you are, but talk to them and encourage them to be more than what they think they can be.
Who was it?
Who was it?
Yeah, was it one guy or?
It was a series of people
Yeah.
that came in, which was another
And what I notice is people come into your life at just the right time.
The right time.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's almost set up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing what's so important about mentoring. You can have that lifelong, and I really appreciate our mentors that have been around for years, that mentor students throughout the years. But also it's also a learning opportunity for our students to let them understand that people will come and go in your life. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that's how life is. So we have I really appreciate Salisbury University students. They come in, they mentor for a year, and some of them have to leave. They graduate or they move out of the area. But it's a learning opportunity for that student to know that this isn't someone who's abandoning you. This is just part of life. And I teach the mentors, especially the college students, prepare your child. Let them know that, you know something, after this year, next year, I'm gonna be moving on. But I'm still be thinking about you, and I want to see you do the same thing. So we use that. It may seem like it's negative, where we're only going to be with a child for a year or a semester.
Right.
But it's a learning opportunity to teach that child that just because someone leaves your life doesn't mean they're abandoning you.
It's funny you say that, because just the other week, I had to go watch something in court, and I went in there, and there was a friend of mine from many years ago who was in there. I thought, oh my gosh, what is he doing in court? So cases would come and go, and I ended up sliding over where he was, and I said, what are you doing here? He goes, you know, there's a kid I mentor who's kind of in trouble, and I needed to be here to watch. Mm. It turned out it was a kid that he mentored like 15 years ago when the kid was in 6th grade. But they've kept a relationship, you know, through all these years, and he still mentors this kid, even though there's no program for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's important. Those are those true mentor relationships where you hang on. There's a young man now, he's at the Salvation Army down in Atlanta. There was a story about me and him when he was in 8th grade. 8th grade. He was in 8th grade too many times. And we've been in touch here and there for the last 10 years, over 10 years now. And it's one of those things, I see him in the store, he'll call me, or say hi to me, or he'll just give me a call out of the blue. But still, we have that connection. And he knows there's someone out there that if he needs some help or someone to talk to, I'm here. But again, with the Wicomico Mentoring Project, we're asking you just to come into our schools. We'll do an intensive training, which will give you opportunities to do some role model or talking with individuals to see what it's like when you're sitting down with a child. We'll give you materials that you can use, but it's not that hard. We just need people to come in, and you could pick the grade level, you could pick the school, how many you want to do. You can come in for breakfast and just eat breakfast with young people, come in for lunch. So again, the opportunities are endless, but we need people from our community to step up.
Yeah, I did it for just a few months, probably 15 years ago now. And I would just go and meet with a kid after school and do homework with him.
That's it.
Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
And he was in a math level that I could actually participate, which was good. Because when I got home with my own kid, I couldn't help him with anything.
Yeah.
But I felt great that I could help. And it felt like it made a difference. It kept him focused. It was just one more voice in his ear about, where's your agenda, let's fill this out, you know, let's get this homework done. You know, and tomorrow morning when you're in class, and if they're going to do a problem on the board, pick this problem, raise your hand, and go to the board and do it, and you're going to be golden.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know anything beyond this one problem, you're going to be golden.
And that's how easy it is to mentor. Hey, but there's something special this year we're starting, calling it Mentoring Barbers.
Yeah, now I'm excited about that. You got to tell me about this.
So I'm sitting in the barber shop, to trim my beard, and I'm looking around.
That's right. What do you go to a
barber shop for? So I'm sitting there, and I see a lot of young people in there with their mothers, and the barbers are cutting their hair, and they're talking to the kids. And I said, you know what would be cool? 2 things that happen. This will help everyone. I said, why don't we, and I talked to the barber shop that I went to, you guys would be the mentoring barbers. So the barbers are coming to the school, talk to a group of kids, and then the students, and then what we'll do is every other month I'll have them bust in to the barber shop. And here's what's so cool. They'll come into the barbershop and have what I call barbershop talk. What's barbershop talk? Well, on this scale, the barbers, as they're cutting the hair, which improves self-image,
sure,
which will improve self-esteem, and also you're going to have men talking to young men about, hey, staying in school, getting a good education.
And sexism aside, it's a different thing.
It is really a different thing.
Yeah.
And it also is going to help that single parent who struggles to try to bring their child in and may feel kind of uncomfortable being in a place with a bunch of men and their child's coming in. There's going to be opportunity to give them some time off, but also teach them. And they can say, what about the young ladies? Well, we're going to try that. I'm not sure what I don't think it's not called barbershop, but beautician. And sometimes we do that. We let young ladies that have some difficulties with at home, or they're being raised by someone that's not keeping them up. We use the Salisbury Beauty Academy, and we send our young ladies there. But we're gonna do the mentoring barbers this year, and you'll hear more about it. And we're looking for more barbershops, people that own barbershops, to step up. Just contact me at the school board, and we'll put you in touch with a school.
Right.
And it'll be pretty cool.
Because barbers hear it all.
Yeah.
They know every story. They know everything that's going on.
And what's so funny is just engaging while they're cutting the hair and the young child sitting there. And some of them will talk about, honestly, they didn't finish school. But what I find that conversation about someone who hasn't finished school always regrets they didn't go back.
Right.
And now they can share that with that child to say, hey, don't have regrets. Stay in school.
They're at a level now that they can look back and say, don't be like me that way.
Yeah, which works out good.
This is what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, when we have new reporters at the paper, and they would want to know, like, how can I immerse myself in the community? I would say, don't get your hair cut at the mall. Go to one of the local barbershops, and get some conversation going, because you will learn about the community.
You sure will.
You'll learn what the problems really are, and the good and the bad, because that's where it gets discussed.
Yeah, and that's like mentoring too, which you just did. And that's why some people think mentoring is really difficult. It's not. It's just sharing information, being a good listener. But we need our mentors to come into our school system. The way the process will work now, we'll use the month of September to really start recruiting really heavily. And that gives the school a chance to get settled down, the teachers understanding their students. And then in October, that's when we start placing mentors in our school system.
Yeah, and it's good for the mentors too, because they don't necessarily understand the school system. They get in there, they find out what's going on, and you have a whole different viewpoint.
Oh yeah, that's another part. When you stand on the outside and you see news stories or you hear things about the school system, don't take that. Come inside to see. And again, you may have pockets of things that go on, but on the whole, our school system is a great school system.
It's an amazing thing.
It really is. It really is. And you can see the teachers, how they're really engaged. This year, we're starting in the month of September, National Attendance Month. And we want to make sure we increase our attendance in schools. So I also want to have another pocket of mentors called Success Mentors. And these are the non-traditional mentors in the school or out of the school, that their role is just to keep in contact with students who are maybe have had some absentee problems, issues. Let them know that, hey, we missed you in school. Hey, you need to come back to school.
Right.
Why'd you miss school? We want our community. You'll start seeing more advertisements about this. When you see a child out of the school day, outside someplace, just say, hey, man, stay in school.
Right.
Just, you don't have to confront them, like, why aren't you in school, like you're a truant officer?
Yeah.
But just let the kids know, hey, between that 8 and 3, you should be in school. Just say, hey, how was school today? You're in school today? Just a message to let them know that, wow, people on the outside.
When you're out of that flow, you can't get back in.
Yeah. So again, we want students and people to work with our students. Again, that success mentor, to let them know school's important. You really need to be in that building, gaining as much education as you can, because it's going to be different when you get out in the real world.
There's a billion statistics in terms of the school system. We're a little bit behind the state average in terms of our graduation rate. Dr. Hanlon is doing a lot of work to try to improve that. But that also gets tied back to the attendance rate, ironically. And we're just a little bit behind the state average in that as well. But it really is important to keep them involved, because if they're not involved, then they're not going to graduate.
Not going to graduate.
Yeah, so it's one and the other.
And that mentoring relationship can be so critical in helping the increase attendance rate and also the graduation rate, because now you have a young person that may be struggling with attendance, or, should I really stay in school and graduate? They have someone other than their family members who care about them, that are encouraging, that are pushing them, saying, hey, stay in school, do your best.
Yeah. And it's so heartbreaking. You talk about attendance, I used to think, as most people would, well, the kid's lazy or doesn't want to go to school or whatever. And then I found out that there are so many kids who take care of family members and they can't go to school because they have an obligation at home, or they don't have transportation, or just things go wrong where they don't have mentoring, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that keeps them out of that school flow.
It really does, and not to end on a sad note, but what I'm adding into our mentoring training this year, you just mentioned some of those risk factors for suicide. I haven't really talked about suicide in our mentoring training, but this year it's going to be a big piece about some of the risk factors and some of the precipitating factors that add to our students that are increased suicide rates among middle school all the way up to college age students. The pressures that they're dealing with of staying in school, or their family struggles that they're having.
Yeah.
So I want our mentors to be able to identify those risk factors, understand what they should do when they see that. We talk about child abuse all the time and the bloodborne pathogen training, but I want them to understand suicide is something you can't come back from.
Right.
So I want you to be able to understand when you see a child that's struggling in school because they have to take care of their families, they're doing all these different things. Some of the resources that are available out here in our community that you should be able to refer them to, and what to do if a child says something to you. I've had, last year, and even as recently as this week, someone said, well, this child said he wants to commit suicide. I said, what did you do? Well, I didn't do anything. I don't know what to do. But this is what we want to train and let our adults know what to do, because when you look at national level rates of suicide among young people,
it's scary.
It really is scary. And we have the power to prevent this. But we got to get out there. That's why, again, I'm asking we need mentors in our school system.
You got a new event this year, Fresh Start?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. August 26th,
so
coming up.
I'm confused about it. Tell me what it is.
What is Fresh Start? Well, if you've seen over the years, every group, church, agency has backpack giveaways.
Which are tremendous.
Tremendous. But what we've found over the years, you see the same people at every event. We said, how about let's do this? A couple things. First of all, let's unite our community to show we're one community. It's not fair to have groups trying to overshadow somebody else.
Rotary's trying to beat the Chamber, trying to beat the...
No, we're one Salisbury.
We did 2,000 backpacks, we did 4,000.
Yeah. So why don't we come
Which
together?
is great. You don't want to ever criticize what they did, but...
No one and it's not a criticism. But let's just show we're one Salisbury. We're united. So a group, everybody got together, and the Wicomico Civic Center, Parks and Rec Civic Center, they took the lead.
Good
James
for them.
Simmons. It's been excellent. Brought together all the different groups. The Extraordinary League of Gentlemen, which had something. Chucky Smiley and Michael Mitchell had something every year in Billie Jean Jackson Park. The Rotary clubs, we always had something at the Christian Shelter. And some other church groups, getting everybody together under one roof. Now imagine this, on this day, we're asking, just come to the Civic Center. You walk through, you pick up a book bag, and you go to each session, each stage, section that has that age-appropriate, grade-appropriate material that you need for school. You get to see your teachers, your principal will be there. We're asking them to be there. Again, this is K through 8.
Right.
The elementary and secondary, or not secondary, not high school, but K through 8. You get to see some of your principals in a neutral territory where you can just talk to them. We're going to have different vendors. They'll have services available, such as a group I'm a part of, Wicomico Hope, which is an excellent,
amazing
group to show what
and
resources.
I'm guilty. I don't give them enough publicity.
Yeah.
I need to.
So they'll be there. And then you can go take pictures next to a school bus. Then you come around, and we're going to have about 20 barbers giving nice fresh cut haircuts to the children, boys and girls. But it's just going to be one day where you can come together. It's not going to be in the stigma of only poor people need. Anyone can come. We have 4,000 book bags and school supplies. But I think this is going to be a great opportunity. Bring the community together, let them see the school system in a neutral fashion, and just have a great time from 12 to 5 on August 26th.
At the Civic Center.
At the Civic Center. So, and there's also transportation. You'll see the flyers all over town. We have some strategic places to pick up people if they don't have transportation. But this could be a good neighborly time. If you know some family doesn't have transportation, why don't you go pick them up? This would be a good time to bring our community together. That's what it's about.
What do you see going on out there in our community? I mean, I feel like things are going pretty, I feel like we're lucky that we're making some progress, but then every now and then there's some horrible story that makes you think, well, they call it head-shaking news. I mean, some kind of a really thing that pulls us all back.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily indicative of what's really going on. It's just maybe some kind of a crazy thing. How do you see things? You're with kids all the time, and with mentors, with teachers. What do you see out there?
Well, unfortunately, media only shows the things that are going to grab your attention. So there's a lot of things in the world that's going on, but there's so much good. And the only way you know what good is going on is to be part of it.
Right.
It is a song that says, I woke up this morning, I was mad, and I saw hunger, I saw violence, so I shook my fist at God and said, won't you do something? And he said, I did, I created you. And that's what it's about. We have the ability to change things. No matter what look like is happening in the world, you individually can make the difference. And that's what being a mentor is all about. Don't complain about what's happening and the violence in this community. Violence can stop if we bring people together and they can understand what that child has to go through when they get home. Change up the community. Have more things like we do with Adopt a Block, where we give food to our fellow citizens. Be the difference maker. Just don't be the one who sits back and complains and shake your hand at God and say, won't you do something? Again, like I said, he did. He created us. So be a mentor. Be a change agent for positiveness, and we will make a difference. It takes time, but we can get it done.
Yeah, and as a cynical person, I have to fight myself all the time. You can't accept the cynicism.
No, you really can't.
You have to change your paradigm somehow so you get exposed to a different way of thinking.
You really have to. We talked about that before. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, I could have lost my mind, but I'm not going to let it stop me. Can I still continue to do something? And that's what I continue to do, even with more vigor and more strength, because I want to make sure I do a lot. When you find out, and we're all going to come to that point in our lives where we just can't do anything, we have to sit back. But I'm not going to leave anything on the table, on the field. I'm going to give everything I can. And I'm just asking people, you don't have to be like me all the time. They go, why are you always walking around? You're like Mr. Energizer Bunny. Because I'm grateful.
You show up at everything.
Well, I try to show up with things that fit what I'm doing, and that's serving my community. And when you serve, I always found out, and a great person always told me, Reverend Tom Bunting told me, when your back is up against the wall and you feel like you just can't handle what's happening, go out and serve. And then you'll find out that, first of all, you'll probably find out there's someone worse off than you.
Right.
But you'll find out that you have that joy of, man, I'm helping somebody. Then you won't start thinking about your issues. So that's why I tell people, get involved, serve, be a mentor, get out there and do something. We need you. The children need you right now.
Do you want to give a little speech about checking yourself for prostate?
Yeah, again, any man.
I mean, I still have never checked myself. My father died of it.
Don't you go to the doctor?
I go and I endure that every year.
Well, here's what I always say.
And my father died of it, but I'm like, nah.
Well, I really, and give all, God really brought me a long way. But when you look at, when you hit 50, African-American males, it is vital you go to the doctor. No, you don't like the test, but always ask for the physical test, which, they put the rubber glove on. I don't want to get into all that.
Right.
But also ask for the PSA blood test to see where your PSA levels are. Once you start determining where that is, continue to check it. I go every 6 months. And a lot of men, there's side effects where you don't feel like you're a man anymore, but you have to look at yourself and say, you have something to give to people. So why would you not want to do this?
That's the key. I got to remember it that way. I have something to give to people.
And it's not fair that you just leave this place.
Right.
And again, it's an agonizing way to leave if you let that spread. So I've gone through the surgery. I've had 2 years of hormones. People say, man, Mr. Mark, you've blown up. What happened? You let yourself go. Now, the hormones, I gained 65 pounds.
Yeah.
It just bloomed. I ballooned all over the place. But I did the hormones for 2 years, and then I did the 45 days of radiation. Best Henson Cancer Center.
Aren't they amazing what we have here?
It is. I see the nurses now. Every now and then I run into them.
Incredible.
Oh, I got to ring that bell.
Yeah.
And I used to watch people ring that bell like, why are they ringing it like that? I didn't want to let go of it.
Right.
It was incredible. So I did all that. And then I'm sharing this because I try to be transparent to let people know. Because they look at you and say, you haven't been through anything. Yes, I have. And I went through hormones, and I always talked about when I did presentations, I started sweating, or I get emotional when my children went to college because of hormones. So they started saying, man, you're just like a woman. And I said, I got a greater appreciation. Well, I've gotten a better appreciation now because, I check my body to make sure things are fine. And I said, ooh, I'm getting kind of sore up here. And the worst thing you can do is Google things.
Oh, yeah, everything's cancer, you're going to die.
You're going to die. Yeah. So I said, stop, let me just go to the doctor. So went to the doctor, and she said, well, we're going to have to do the test. And I said, what test? The mammogram. I said, wait a minute, I'm a dude. I'm not doing a mammogram. But she said, you're going to, even men. And which I didn't realize that. And, I went in there, and I felt embarrassed. They were so nice. And then now when I'm doing speeches and I'd stand like this, women laugh and go, I know what you
got to step into that thing.
But I did it. And it eased my mind because everything's fine. But two things could happen. Either I would let it go and then it'd be too late.
Right.
Or I go crazy thinking about what it could be. Go to the doctor, get yourself checked, because once again, you have something to give to people.
See, you've hit it, because it's not like people need me. It's not, that's the wrong attitude. It's, I still have something to give.
You have something to give. And like I said, people, you don't know who needs you. That's why I tell our mentors, you don't know what difference you're going to make in that child's life. It may not be that one that you're mentoring at this one particular year, but there could be one that's watching you. But you never know who's watching you, who needs you. So be a mentor, stick around, go get your health screen, because again, you're valuable.
He's Mark Thompson. I'm thrilled. I need to have this guy around me all the time. He really changes people's lives and makes it better every day that he's around. Thanks for being here today.
Well, I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, another edition of One-on-One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.